Recently, while in Spain, I visited with renowned classical guitar maker José Romanillos and was able to spend an evening with him and his wife Marian at their home. I videoed our conversation, and in part 3 of my Evening with Romanillos video, José talks about the book he wrote about António Torres, as well as his soon-to-be-released book about his own construction methods developed over the last 50 years. He also describes the traditional Spanish sound. Once again, I hope you enjoy and appreciate the information that José is offering here. Let's talk a little bit about the book that you have written about the life of António Torres.
Yeah.
I read the book on the way over on the plane, and what a wonderful book. At times you become emotional reading the book, and I'm sure you did as well writing the book. And I found it very interesting. There's a couple of tidbits in the book that Mr. Torres was accused of being a counterfeiter. The molds or the whatever you call them for making the counterfeit coins into the well. And, also that he was put in prison and pardoned by the Queen. Oh my God, all kinds of very historical information.
Story, yes, but I don't think that's. I think that's only a story.
Right. There's no way of documenting it.
No, because I think I justified what the history says, you know. But it's a wonderful story. That man, it's the village where he was born in Almeria, but he went to a village nearby, so about 80 or 50 miles, and talking about early in the 19th century. And he started as a carpenter, rather. And how that man could develop into a guitar maker with such a degree of perspicacious idea of how the instrument works. And I still, what we did with that book, well, that's the question I asked myself, because when I got to know Torres, I didn't know anything about him. And I say, well, who is this guy? What has he done? Why they say Torres is the greatest guy? And one year, Marian and I went to Malaga. To Almeria. Well, we went to Spain to see the family and went to, Liam was a little lad about that tall. And we got to Almeria and I got the chance to, I wanted to buy cypress wood to make guitars. And there was a guitar maker called Gerundino Fernandez, you probably heard of him. Anyway, I became friendly with him because his brother is the one who sold the wood, you know, the cypress. And he said to me he had a pack of wood that is selling very cheap and blah, blah. And it's still in the garage, you'll see it later on if you want to see it. Anyway, but we went to have a merienda, you know, with Gerundino, his wife, a little boy. And the conversation said that the Torres live about 1 kilometer from here. I said, what, around here? He said, yeah. I said, well, come on, let's go. And we jumped in. It was on a Sunday. And of course, they were, I think, probably July, August it was. And we went around the village asking if they knew something about Torres, and you know. And we found a man sat on the chair just outside. He was, I think, he was nearly 100 years old. Right. And he remembered, yes, see, I remember that I think they wanted to cut his hand for something rather. And it's funny actually how this. Anyway, I inquiry and nobody knew much. And I said to Marian, well, it was tomorrow, Monday, I'm going to the church to see if I found something. Anyway, I got to the church, I looked into the files and I couldn't find anything. Yeah. And so, well, that's it. We went to England And I think I remember saying to Marian, the next place I'm going to Spain, I want to go to Almeria, and I want to find where he was buried.
Right.
And that is started the whole thing.
Wow.
That's it.
It's a very, very interesting book. If you have not read the book,
Yeah.
get the book. It's a very interesting read and very historical, documents all of the Torres guitars.
And
Very-
that's
very well
that, but the thing about it is, and I'm not saying that of a sort of false modesty, I don't know how I managed to write a book with the help of my wife, because I didn't know anything about books, I didn't know anything about Torres, I didn't know, and how I managed to put it together. And
Right.
well, poor Marian had to type it 5 or 6 times.
Wow. Well, it was very well done. Very well done. I enjoyed the book tremendously. I
And,
recommend it to all of my students that come and study with
Well,
me.
it,
Read the book.
Well, you know, I pick it up still now, and I can't put it down.
it's
I
amazing.
start
I mean,
reading
I had
anywhere in the book, and
his stories. There
I
is
just keep going, I can't stop.
a guitar maker in the UK called Michael G. I don't know where you heard. We met a couple or 3 years ago. And he said to me, Jose, I said, the book is wonderful.
Yes.
He said, I got it at the end of my bench. And when I got the press, I think what Torres had to go through.
He had a tough life, a very tough life. It's all
And then,
documented in the book. I don't want to give anything away, but a very tough life.
And that is, but there's no false modesty. I don't know how we managed to do it, you know, and I think it's the will to do things, and
Right.
you know,
Drive,
the
passion.
interest. Well, but it has to be passionate.
Right, right.
I went to Seville, and I stayed 2 weeks there on my own. And all I saw is the archives in the hotel,
Right.
And well, it's the first
Kind of
book.
like us here at the course. We see the hotel and the atelier.
course.
Yeah, well, that's
Hotel and then
Yeah,
the shop.
yeah.
That's it.
No, but it is. Well, I think it's done a lot of good to the guitar and to the Spanish guitar.
It's a great contribution. To
It's a lot to be learned about Torres,
Yes.
because what I did is, if you like, a literary account, but nobody seems to be interested in following. You know, because he is a lot of questions asked. But anyway, he has done a good job, I thought.
Speaking of books, you are currently writing another book about your
Yeah.
construction method.
Yeah.
Is for those that may
Yeah,
view the video,
yeah.
is there any idea of when you will complete this?
Well, I've been on the book. You won't believe this. This is. I started writing the book in 1961.
Okay.
When I started making my first guitar.
Right.
And then, you know, that is the ignorance and the passion,
Right.
you know, that I had at that time. But anyway, the book is written, the text is read, the photographs are ready. What happened is we had to prepare this course,
Right.
and that delays us, but with a little bit of luck, will be by the end of this year or beginning of the next. It's a book that is, it's not a book like other books. I don't have anything to invention or, you know, sort of anything to offer. All I offer is more or less my experience
Right.
as a guitar. Look, I had to go through as a guitar maker. I want people who read my book, even if he's a chef from the hotel, if he wants to make a guitar, he has the chance to make it following that book.
Nice. Very nice.
I not only tell dimensions and all that sort of thing, but show how the tools will be sharpened and how, you know, simplify the thing for a person who hasn't got much money to make a fretting jig or all that sort of thing. And of course, it's a interesting part of how to select the wood and how and why, I have to say. Yes, a little bit of information, sort of. It's no sort of pick it up from magazine. It's how should I say, physical information at a very high level. Why the spruce should be selected and how and why, and a few other things to go with it. It's not just for the chap who doesn't know anything. And on top was this little anecdote of our life. And well, I think that a book, you had to force a reader to read it if he's guitar making or sort of bread making, because otherwise it gets boring, you know. And I got that fascinated that I think I induced the reader to read it, you know. And that's what I think it's going to be very interesting. These photographs of me doing things, and it'll be a black and white, because it's not a book about artistic photograph. It's just black and white to show what we're doing. And
Well, I personally am looking forward to it.
Yeah.
And I know that many others are probably anxiously awaiting the
So
book as
am
well.
I. Marianne ready.
I bet, yeah.
Marianne ready daughter, well, she's a good, and she likes it. So if Marianne likes it, it's a good sign that it'll be reasonably.
Great. Great. So how, related to the book about Torres, how has your extensive research on Torres influenced you and your personal methods or style of building?
Well, I try to follow the guitar. I try to make a light instrument, and an instrument, as I show in the class, that it has sound oscillation on the soundboard. And really, it's his principle. And I made 101 experiments and things, and I realized that the strutting, you know, the funny strutting, is it gives a lot of combination. They're all valid, you know, because basically is they're reinforcing sort of a strut, so to speak. But the basic principle is the light guitar, the Torres guitar, that when you feel it, it's got a personal, it sounds a little bit funny, touch. You be the human touch in there. And the great thing is be able to move a little with the fingerboard.
Like
I'm sorry, the soundboard,
like
you know, that like we do. Because he indicates, you see, the guitar, the Spanish guitar maker is an instrument, it's a, how should I say it, it's a generic instrument. It's not a guitar. It has, I don't think before Torres, or well, before the Sanguino, that Vihuela we got in there, 1760. That's the first one with funny strutting. Not that one. That maker, he made that funny strutting in another one in Le Hague in, I think, 1759. And that is the beginning of the new revival of the Spanish guitar. Now, in Torres, what he did, he worked in Seville, and he worked actually in the same shop, in the same street where Sanguino. They are not in the same epoch. Torres is, well, nearly a century later. But that center was the center of guitar and vihuela making. And I think he absorbed the essence. And what he did, he was able to to assume all the things they found in Spain, to put it in an instrument. And actually, it's wonderful the way he gave it a voice, which was different to all the other guitars.
Right.
Not only in Spain, but in other parts of the world.
Right.
Because the European part, their guitars, they are somehow influenced by the lute construction, where they used harmony bar, I think it's 6 or 7. And now you see in many European instruments is based on that.
Right.
But the Spanish guitar kept her own identity with the fine strutting that after that it's been copied for the rest of the world. So I studied the Torres guitar and Santos, and I look at any guitar and that. Difficult to describe what it actually is, but I mean it's the instrument has to have what I say in the class. It has to have a bass that it speaks up round, and the treble that it really is clean, clear. It also it has quality, you know. And I think Torres knew how to select the wood pretty well.
Right.
I mean, he sought for a carpenter in this village that I said. I was able to realize what the sprue was for, you know. He says that he is with the fingers and
in the English language, we have difficulty describing sound.
yeah.
Now, if you want to talk about a fine glass of wine, we can write books on this. But to describe sound is very difficult.
Yeah.
You just did a wonderful job of describing the traditional Spanish sound.
It did. Well, it is what I feel. I mean, it's you pick some guitars there with the transfer, but they sound nice, nula, but they don't. You know, the Spanish guitar has to be like a carving. You know, like that the sound reverb. Gracias, igualmente. It has to reverberate.
Right.
Because that the kind of excellent, I don't know what it is, and the box has to work, because as I say, you have hem-holes resonant, because you see the soundboard tells the rest of the guitar what it's got to do.
Right.
And the soundboard, it hasn't got the qualities to tell the rest what it's not, but the box is one thing, and the hem-hole resonance another one. So we had to make a box which is light, irresponsible so to the soundboard, right? And that is a combination of that, and it's what I say, the box takes care of the bass sound, and the good quality spruce, it takes care of the treble, and that, well, I proved it to myself in the last guitar I made, because in there I put all my essence, and when you hear a good Spanish guitar, you hear practically the sound coming out.
Yes, and
going
you talked about that today when I put the strings on my guitar.
Yeah.
In the chorus, you said the sound comes from the cavity, not
yeah.
from the tension of the strings.
That's it.
And that's exactly what I experienced today.
Yeah, well, this is it, because you see, the actual guitar, the development of the contemporary guitar, well, to me, is out of phase. I mean, it's in the sense that they are very much influenced by what they call volume, the penetration, and to reach 2,000 people. Well, that is not the function of the Spanish guitar. The Spanish guitar is got its limitation as far as volume, but contrary to what other people or many people say, it penetrates. You know, that letter Marian read the other day when he says that he could hear that Spanish guitar made by me in 70 or whatever it was. It could be heard over the orchestra. It's not the first one that they says that, because they are very definite in each voice.
Right.
and they are not intermingled, and one doesn't blur the other one.
Right.
And that's one of the essence of the Spanish guitar, at least the one Liam and I made,
Right.
that the voices are definite, and every voice has its own function.
Right.
And that makes, indicates they are independent of the whole conglomerate of the, the resonance.
Right.
And this is what we've been fighting for, and I think we achieved it actually.
I think so.
And the modern guitar, they're using all kind of whatever's other. Cedar, Western cedar, what do you call it? This thing, the strips they put on this
Carbon fiber, composite materials.
and well, I got nothing against anybody for doing this, because everybody has the right to do what they feel like it.
Right.
But I think they taken away some of the essence of the Spanish guitar, which is in the wood.
Right.
And the thicknesses, and I think the working of the maker, he has a lot to do. I think the maker has to, and the technical aspect, they are, well, I'm a bit in doubt that they really are improving the quality of the Spanish guitar.
Right.
I know somebody who say the Spanish guitar, but they call it classical guitar, but to me it's the Spanish guitar.
Right.
That it had to be reevaluated because it's not the same as the violin. The violin was invented, and that's it. The Spanish guitar really reevaluating. And when what the reevaluation he meant is not really the improvement on that is something else, If you change the system or the structure or the woods or whatever they would call the Spanish guitar, you make a different instrument.
Right.
And what we defending is particularly the form and the structure and the sound of the Spanish guitar. Well, as I say, everybody has the right to do whatever they like, and if they succeed and whatever.
Right.
But if they deviate from the classical model, I think it's not the same.
José's book about António Torres is a wonderful read, and no doubt his soon-to-be-released book on his construction method is going to be well received as well by guitar enthusiasts the world over. In part 4 of my evening with Romanillos, José talks about what he considers to be his greatest contribution to luthiery, and his greatest achievement as a luthier.